Look at the top of your browser. Those 25 tiny icons are 25 tiny promises you haven't kept to yourself. You tell yourself it's efficiency, but it's actually a focus leak. Every open tab is a ghost in the machine, pulling a tiny bit of power from your brain while you try to work on one thing. You're paying a dopamine debt you can't afford. It's a glitch in your digital lifestyle that leaves you cooked before noon. You aren't multitasking, you're just fragmenting your soul. Chapter 1. Every time you open a new tab without closing the last one, you're taking out a mental loan. You get a tiny hit of dopamine because it feels like potential. You think, oh, I'll read that later, or I'll use that for the edit. But later is a lie your brain tells you to avoid the work of now. That open tab stays in the back of your mind, taking up a tiny bit of background processing power. It's a debt that slowly accumulates interest throughout the day until your brain feels like a computer with a failing fan. By 2 p.m. you're wondering why you feel so tired when you haven't even done much yet. It's because you've been paying the focus tax on a dozen different ideas at once. You're bankrupting your attention span for the sake of options you aren't even using. This is the dopamine trap. We've been trained to seek the new instead of finishing the old. It feels better to start a search than to finish a task. But starting is cheap, and finishing is where the real value is stored. You're currently running a focus deficit. You're trying to build a business or a life OS on a foundation of scattered thoughts. It's like trying to build a skyscraper on a swamp. Every tab is another gallon of water, making the ground softer and more unstable. If you don't stop the leak, you'll never reach the deep work levels needed for mastery. You'll just be a professional browser. Someone who knows a little bit about a lot of things but finishes nothing. That's a mid-tier life, and we don't do mid here. It's time to audit your mental ledger. Stop taking out loans you don't intend to pay back. Close the tab, pay the debt. Your brain will thank you for the silence. Once the debt is gone, the real work can finally begin without the noise. Chapter 2. There's a myth that context switching is free. You think you can jump from a finance app design to a YouTube script and then back to a client edit without losing anything. You're wrong. Every switch has a latency period. When you change tasks, your brain doesn't move instantly. It leaves a residue on the previous task. You're still thinking about that email while you're trying to grade a video. This attention residue makes your work low resolution and full of errors. It takes about 20 minutes to fully load into a deep state of focus. If you switch tabs every 5 minutes, you literally never reach the peak. You're living in the valley of the shallow, wondering why your work doesn't have that pro feel. You're paying a switching tax that eats up to 40% of your productivity. Imagine if someone stole 40% of your bank account every single month. You'd be furious, but you let the tabs do it to your time without even putting up a fight. This is why you feel busy but not productive. You're moving a lot, but you aren't going anywhere. You're just vibrating in place. Your life OS is stuck in a loop of loading screens because you won't let one program finish before opening the next. True digital sovereignty is the ability to stay on one thread until it's pulled all the way through. It's a single-threaded mindset in a multi-tab world. It's rare, and that's why it's valuable. If you can master this, you'll outpace everyone in your niche. Stop the vibrating. Pick a thread. Kill the background noise. The cost of switching is too high for a guy trying to build an empire. You need every bit of that 40% back. Let's look at the ghost that's keeping those tabs open. Chapter 3. In psychology, there's a thing called open loops. It's the brain's tendency to remember unfinished tasks better than finished ones. This sounds like a superpower, but in the digital age, it's a curse. Every open tab is an open loop. Your brain is keeping a tiny bit of electrical power running to that thought so you don't forget it. It's like leaving the lights on in every room of a massive house. Eventually, the fuse is going to blow. These ghosts create a constant mental hum. It's a background noise of, I should do that, and don't forget this. It makes it impossible to sit in silence. You feel the need to scroll or click because the silence is too loud with the sound of unfinished loops. You're currently haunted by your own incomplete data. You've turned your Notion or your browser into a digital graveyard of ghosts. You're trying to be an architect, but you're living in a haunted house of your own making. The fix is simple logic. Close the loop. Either do the task, schedule the task, or delete the task. There is no maybe in a high-performance system. Maybe is just a ghost waiting to drain your battery. When you close a loop, the ghost disappears. The brain gets the success signal and moves that data from RAM to archive. The mental hum starts to fade. Suddenly, you have clarity again. You can hear your own thoughts instead of the ghosts. Don't let the ghosts run the machine. You are the operator. Every time you close a tab, you're performing a digital exorcism. You're reclaiming your headspace. You're making room for the golden knowledge to actually take root and grow. Chapter 4. Digital minimalism isn't about being aesthetic or having a clean desktop. It's about power. A clean screen is a clear path. When there's nothing to distract you, the only thing left to do is the work. Your environment is a trigger for your behavior. If your environment is cluttered with 50 tabs, your behavior will be scattered. If your environment is a single document and a single goal, your behavior will be surgical. You're engineering your own focus. Most people are afraid of a blank screen. They use the tabs as a safety blanket so they don't have to face the hard work. But the hard work is the only thing that moves the needle on your finance app or your content business. You have to learn to sit in the void. Turn off the notifications, close the browser, hide the taskbar. Make the world small. The smaller your world is, the bigger your focus becomes. It's an inverse relationship that most people ignore. Think of your screen as a sacred workspace. You wouldn't let people dump trash on your physical desk, so why do you let tabs dump trash on your digital one? Protect your pixels. They are the front line of your sovereign reality. When you embrace minimalism, you realize that you don't need more information. You need more implementation. You already have enough ideas to be successful. You just don't have enough focus to finish them. The tabs are just a distraction from your own potential. Be dangerous with your time. Be the guy who has one tab open and stays there for 4 hours. That guy is a beast. That guy finishes the para setup while everyone else is still researching which app to use. Be the beast, not the browser. Chapter 5. High-level systems are single-threaded. They do one thing perfectly before moving to the next. Your life OS should be the same. One project, one task, one focus. This is how you achieve flow, the state where time disappears. Flow is the ultimate multiplier. In flow, you can do 8 hours of work in 2 hours. But flow is a shy creature. It won't show up if there are tabs and notifications making noise. You have to create a sanctuary for it to appear. By killing the focus tax, you're inviting flow back into your life. You're moving from fragmented to integrated. You're no longer a collection of half-finished ideas. You're a single point of intensity. You're a laser instead of a light bulb. A laser can cut through steel. A light bulb just glows. Which one are you trying to be in this market? The market doesn't pay for glowing. It pays for cutting. It pays for the person who can finish the deep work that everyone else is too distracted to touch. This is the architect's secret. We build systems that protect our single thread. We use automation to handle the noise so our main thread can stay pure. We've realized that focus is the only thing that can't be automated. You own your attention. It's the most sovereign thing you have. Don't sell it for a dopamine hit on a random article. Keep it, stack it. Use it to build the life the standard map said was impossible for someone your age. You've stopped the leak. You've paid the tax. Now the machine is running at full power. You're clear, you're focused, and you're ready. But even with a clear screen, there's a bug in the system that most people never see until it's too late. You've closed the tabs, but the silence feels weirdly heavy, doesn't it? You've realized that focus isn't just about what you see on the screen. It's about the structure beneath the surface that's either pushing you forward or quietly dragging you down. If your life OS is built on a foundation of ghost habits, no amount of digital minimalism will save the engine from stalling. Check the previous video to see why your schedule is a lie.